what you got. Oh, I can't see tomorrow. Gotta live, try to get a little wiggle room, the rest don't stop. Quid pro quo, I need the best y'all got. Tryna make a dollar, flip it like it's vinyl. Tryna make a way. What's it worth to you if the price too high? Quid pro quo, I need the best y'all got. Give me your best. I won't tell you nothing less, cause I'm giving you 100. How you always leaving me with nothing? I'm not impressed. It's gonna take more than this, cause I'm giving you 100. And I don't even know if I can trust you for nothing.
There we go. There we go. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. It's live. Y'all, my eyes are trying to wake up. Good morning, Vanessa. Good morning, Shay. I love it. I love it, Carrie. That's awesome. You gotta send Christian a little message and say, hey, look, I sing your song every morning when I wake up. I gotta see your songs, sing your song. So I'm gonna put my freaking glasses on, y'all. I can't see crap. Jagger said, hey, what's up, Gramps? When I put these on last night. But they're so small and they fit in my bag so well. Good morning, Kristen. Good morning, Carrie, Shay, and Vanessa. Good morning from the Arctic Midwest. It is absolutely frigid here. I got out yesterday and did my outdoor workout in 24 is what it said on my app. I don't know how cold it is this morning, but I would venture a guess it's colder than that. So I'm super looking forward to getting out later and freezing my snot in my nose. But good morning. Good morning, family. Good morning, everybody. My name is Aaron Dwyer. My wife, Christy Dwyer, and I own Exit Realty Lake Country. And we do this every single morning, 5:30 Central, 6:30 Eastern. We started with a group of our agents and just wanted to give them a little encouraging word, give them some things to start their day on the right foot. And this has turned into a little coffee talk, little fun, laughter, some tears sometimes. But we always manage to get our days off going in the right direction, because we know that if we can get our day morning started off in the right way, our day sometimes, most of the time, will follow that. So here we are, and we look forward to hearing your comments, seeing everything. And if you're, again, the rules are, if you're here this morning, you got to tell us good morning and say hey. So good morning. Yeah, Carrie, it's unreal cold right now, and the crazy thing is, they're saying that Sunday the high is 8. 8 is the high. The low is going to be somewhere around 1, maybe 0. That's Sunday, and we'll still be here Sunday. So super excited about that. Good morning, Anna Davis. I do. Christy said she may get on later, so I'm hoping she does. And I'm not sure why my eyes are adjusting. I don't want to do this call with my glasses on. I may have to, because I'm having a hard time seeing this morning. So been up since 4:15 Central, 4:10ish Central, get my stuff done, and it's been a good morning. I'm looking forward to talking to you guys. I am actually looking forward to talking. I know yesterday we had a group that went to the Google training. For those of you who are going to the Google training today that did not get to go yesterday, I have heard Christy's been raving about the Google training since she left, and talking about how wonderful it was, and all the information that the guy shared, and how fantastic the information that he shared was, that there's so many things that were learned. So again, I'm looking forward to talking to some of you about that, some of the things that you guys can share. I did mention to Christy that I had thought that maybe you guys could share 1 or 2 nuggets from that class in a training, and that you guys could share 1 or 2 nuggets from that class with the rest of the group at some point. So Anna and Carrie and you guys that win, if y'all could kind of be putting your heads together and thinking about what kind of path you want to go on, what kind of lane you want to go down to share some of that Google training. Because what I have heard is this Google My Business thing is the absolute, it's going to be the absolute bee's knees in 2023. That's a rhyme. I could do a rap about that. That's where Christian gets his rapping abilities from me, because obviously I can rhyme words on demand. So I didn't know if y'all knew that. That's a super, I'm super talented in that way. I'm just teasing. So we've, yeah, I can't even imagine. It's typically that way. Christy, it's so funny. Christy used to get on me all the time when I do Boomtown training, and I try. You've got so many things you're trying to get out, and then when you start down a path, there's so many things you want to share about Boomtown to get you going. And Christy would always say, "Man, those people's ears, they're smoke coming out of their ears. You've got to quit sharing so much with them on the first thing because you just intimidate them and you melt their brains." So I get that. I completely get it. I do. But y'all, you've got to pay attention to Google My Business stuff. The Google My Business stuff, the algorithms in Google My Business are what are driving your views. And that's just that. I don't know. I'm not as smart as that guy, but I know that. I know enough about it to know that. Good morning, Michelle T. I know that you've got to be a force on Google My Business. There's different ways that you can do that. So that guy, again, knows a lot more than I know, but you've got to be a student of your Google My Business page. You've got to put as many things on Google My Business page as you do on TikTok, as you do on Facebook, as you do on your other social platforms. You've got to start using that because that's, again, when Google grabs that information and somebody searches for real estate agent in Madison or real estate agent in Beaufort or real estate agent at the lake or best real estate agent at Lake Oconee, that's how that algorithm works. And unless you're in there consistently doing the right things, Google's not going to pick you up. So you've got to do those things, and you've got to make sure that you're doing the right work on your Google My Business page. Okay, y'all, it's Friday. It is January the 27th, 2023. We are on day 27 of 75 hard. I think we've got a couple on maybe day 25. Hopefully day 25. Hopefully all the 75 harders that started 27 days ago are still in it at some point. Are still rocking and rolling. Those of you on 27, I know that it's funny. Yesterday was, and I'm just gonna speak honestly here because I do believe sometimes my honesty gets me in trouble. But I'm gonna tell you, yesterday was super hard because I have a routine now, and I've sort of put a routine in place, and I do have a lot of C personality in me. It is above the midline. I am a DIC personality style. So when my C comes out, that is my routine. That is my comfort. That is the thing that I know I can rely on at a certain time. I do a certain thing. I certainly enjoy that. And so I've gotten into a routine with my morning outside workout, in that when I get finished with my call, I take some time to do a couple of things. Then I'm out on my morning walk, my morning run now. And yesterday that got messed up because I was on an airplane. And so by the time we got back we landed in Omaha and we got to the hotel, it was after 2:30 or 3. And I did go out and do my workout. I did go out and freeze my tail off. I did go out and do the outdoor one. But then we went to dinner because we hadn't had lunch, and we went to dinner, and then there's things at the hotel going on. And obviously the lazy bug crept in, right? Good morning, Miss Teal. The lazy bug crept in, and I did not want to go to. There's a gym in the hotel. I'm like, all I've got to do. And this is what I want to. This is part of what I wanted to talk about this morning. The crazy thing is, there's a gym in the hotel. All I had to do was go out of my room, go in the elevator, go downstairs. I didn't have to get in the car. Didn't have to drive anywhere. Just go downstairs and go spend 45 minutes. Just 45 minutes. That's 45. The second hand, and that's the way the second hand has to go around 45 times. And I've got to get a minimum of 45-minute workout in. And I'm telling you, I sat in my hotel room, sitting there looking at Jagger. I said to Jagger 16 or 17 times, I've got to get up and go work out. I've got to get up and go work out. I've got to get up and go work out. And I literally had the conversation with myself. If you didn't go work out, nobody would really know. And you've been traveling. All those things start happening. All those excuses start happening. All those voices start happening. The little dude pulls up a chair. He wasn't standing there. He pulled up a chair, sat down, crossed his legs, and said, "Boy, let me tell you what." Kind of Charlie Daniels song. He said, "Boy, let me tell you what. You've been traveling all day. You've been running and gunning. You got your outdoor workout in. I know you're tired. I know you don't feel like doing it. Good gosh, this bed is comfortable. It's so super comfortable in here. Why don't you just chill, and maybe you can pick it back up tomorrow?" Literally had that conversation. And after I'd gone to dinner and ate and y'all, we went to this place last night for dinner. wood-fired pizza is I'm telling you, I would eat my weight in wood-fired pizzas. Love it. So we went to this place, and it was called something Wood-Fired Tavern, and they had wood-fired pizza and the homemade focaccia bread and all the stuff that I love so much. And I ended up eating chicken. I just ate chicken and vegetables and a salad. So I stuck with it, right? I'd done the right things. But then when I got back to the hotel, that is the bitch voice. And the bitch voice was telling me, he had his glasses on like this. He crossed his legs on my shoulder, and he just sat down and said, I'm not even mad at you. I'm not angry. I'm not upset, but I don't think, maybe this is just the day you need to take off. Well, then it turned from bitch voice. Sorry, Violet. It turned from bitch voice to cheat voice. And cheat voice said, nobody's going to know if you don't work out. Heck, you could say you worked out and nobody would ever know. You're in Omaha, Nebraska. Who's going to know? And then I remembered a saying, character is not what you do when other people are watching. Character is what happens when no one's watching. And it's the choices that you make when nobody's watching you. That's your character. And I've gotten to the point in this program, and I've gotten to the point in life where what I feel about myself matters more than what other people feel about me. And what I say to myself in the mirror, when I sit down with myself and I have these conversations with myself and I do these things, I am in a place in my life where how I feel about myself is more important than other people's accolades and other people patting me on the back and other people telling me I'm doing a good job. I want to feel good about me. So I got up and I went downstairs and I did my workout. And it wasn't easy, but I did it. I'm telling you, I put the Metallica on, turned it up in my ear, Death Magnetic, man. I'm telling you, that album, put that sucker in my ears, and I rocked through a workout down in the gym and got it done. Got my water in and got my day 26 knocked out. And for somebody with a C personality like me, when your routine gets messed up, that then adds an additional challenge, but you just got to keep digging. So this is kind of where I want to talk about. The title of this today was I don't even remember. Let me look and see. You're the difference in making dreams come true. That was kind of the subtitle. You are the difference in making your dreams come true. You are the difference in making your dreams come true. The question is, whose dreams are you making come true? Yours or somebody else's? Yours or somebody else's? Because at the end of the day, you have to be the center of your solar system. You, at the end of the day, you have to be the driving force in the love that you receive in your life. You have to be the driving force in the success you feel in your life. You have to be the driving force and the center of all the things that you experience in your life. That relies on you. And so many of us were raised to think that it's something on the outside that's going to give us some input from the outside, some external motivation, some external input. Carrie talked about it yesterday when we talked about the difference in a job, a career, and a calling. And that's the subtle difference in what I'm talking about right now. We're raised at some point to believe that when I'm a little kid, if I get this shiny new object, I'm going to be happy. Because all of my other friends have that shiny new object. And if I get that shiny new object, it's going to make me happy. So as we begin to develop, we pull away from that intrinsic feeling of as a baby, what matters is what I want. As an infant, what matters is what I want. As a toddler, what matters is what I want. And then we have that some of our parents beat it out of us, but they get that out of us so that we've heard this thing. The world doesn't revolve around you. You don't get everything you want. You can't have everything you want when you want it. Money doesn't grow on trees. And so we begin to have all this input in our lives at younger ages. And we have all this input in our lives that begins to where we were perfectly exactly who we were supposed to be. Okay. Then the world comes in and starts to take away the fact that you can't have everything you want. And it's not all about you. And so we grow older and we get older and we get to where we're starting getting our formative years, and we start to then compare ourselves to other people. We then have an awareness that other people are in the world. We then have an awareness that people that are like us, that are same height as we are, and we go to school with them, and they talk about what they have, and we see that we don't have those things. Then we begin to compare what we don't have to what they do have. And then we begin to create this whole story that if we get what they have, that thing that we don't have, that's going to make us happy because obviously they're happy. So then we begin to tie our happiness to these external things, these external influences, these things on the outside, and we lose the connection to our intrinsic value in ourselves. We lose this connection to who we are and what we actually want. And then as we get older, we get into dating, we get into being around other people. We start to use other people for our happiness. And then we start to pull from other people what's going to make me happy. So we begin dating. And we begin dating so that we can allow other people to make us happy because there may be some void in our life. There's something that we're missing. We want to have something more. We want to have a relationship. We saw that was the way to make that happen in life. And so we begin to pull from other people these things that from them are for us to use to make us happy. And then what we find a lot of times is in that, just like that shiny object did when we were little, that sometimes those people don't make us happy. And sometimes those external things don't make us happy. Sometimes getting that commission check doesn't make us happy. Sometimes we're not satisfied with making $40,000 or $50,000 a year. Sometimes we're not satisfied with making $300,000 a year. Hell, I know some people that aren't satisfied with making $1 million a year. So to reel all that back in, my hope for you, my prayer for you, my heart's desire for you is that you can be the center of your world, that you can find that intrinsic value in yourself, that you can look at yourself in the mirror and be so happy with your effort, be so happy with the amount of love you give other people, be so happy with the amount of effort you give when you're awake during the day, be so satisfied and excited about doing what you're doing right now, because what you're doing right now is a platform to help other people be better. I want you to be so fired up and excited about that not only are you happy, but because you're happy, you begin to attract the very things that make you happier. You begin to attract the things that progress you down your path. You begin to attract the people and the situations and the opportunities in your life that take you from right here to right here. Because I pulled this note out of my bag. It's a wrinkled up little note. I wrote this down the other day. People aren't lucky. There's no such thing as luck. There's no such thing as luck. People attract opportunity to their beliefs. You hear people say people attract luck with their hard work, or that hard work creates luck, or if you got to work hard to create luck and all those things. I believe luck is attracted, or the semblance of luck or the appearance of luck, because you don't know what luck is. None of us do. Because what we see is somebody getting a lucky break. What we don't see is they've spent 15 years honing their craft. They've spent 15 years failing over and over and over again. They battled demons. They battled people telling them they're not enough. They've battled inadequacy. And then all of a sudden, right, it appears to us on the outside that they got this lucky break and now they're blowing up. When in fact, they've been attracting that opportunity for 15 years. So what you're doing right now, I think Chrissy's going to be on here later. She said she's getting in the car. I suppose she's got to go somewhere, but she said I sent her the link to be on here later, or to be on here. So hopefully she will be. So what Carrie mentioned yesterday, when I just talked about the difference, and I want you to try to emotionally hear these words, right? The job, the career, or the calling. What is this for you? What is what you're doing right now? Is it a job? Is it a career? Or is it a calling? Because if you look at it like a job, and I'm just going to give, this is just Aaron Dwyer's personal philosophy of whatever it is. If you look at this like a job, then what you tend to feel, what I would feel when I hear the word job, if I were looking at this career like a job, then everything's a struggle. Nobody likes getting up and going to a job, because guess what? When you go to a job, you're making other people's dreams come true. To use Robert Kiyosaki's, you're trading your time for money. You're trading your life away for money. You're exchanging your value of time, your value of energy, your very life essence. You are trading every single moment of that for a return. And so for a job, it doesn't mean much. Jobs have very little intrinsic value. Jobs are something that you can do, quit, go find another one. Jobs are something that you do when you're trying to learn about yourself. Cade, my 17-year-old, works at Just Love Coffee Cafe in Mount Juliet. That's a job. For him, it's a job. He walks in, he goes, makes his little bit of money per hour. He goes in on Saturday and Sunday and does his thing. The people that own Just Love Coffee Cafe, they don't look at that as a job. The people that own Just Love Coffee Cafe, they're there before the sun comes up. They're there after the sun goes down. They're spending 10, 12, 15 hours, however long it takes. They're there, pouring their blood, sweat, and tears. They probably mortgaged their house. They've gone to get loans. They've done things to open up that business because that's their life's blood. Now, maybe that's a calling, or maybe that's their career. Maybe they're career franchisers. Maybe that's what they do, and they chose Just Love Coffee because it was a fantastic franchise opportunity. But they obviously have some kind of perceived desire for an output that's going to be worth the investment they made in it. And maybe that's what the career is. Maybe the career is it's something that you're going to do. It's something that you're going to do on a long-term basis, that you're going to put more effort in than you would put into a job. But at the same time, for most of us, when you look at careers, and I think careers, probably y'all, honestly, I'm not sure careers are even something of the present. I think careers are something of the past. Nobody stays in one company anymore. Nobody is a career whatever anymore. They bounce around. They do different things. They're always moving and shaking. This is a world of, in today's society, in a world of, it's always changing. It's always evolving. Things happen so fast. Technology moves so fast. There's so many shifts and changes and market gyrations and everything because of this global economy. Everything in the United States is hinging on what happens in Taiwan, and what happens in Canada affects what happens in Japan. And everything's just kind of interrelated now, like it never was before, or like we never had the appearance of before, even though it may have been. The calling, on the other hand, the calling's what you do. That's how I look at 75 Hard. The calling's what you do when you don't want to do it. The calling's what you do when you trudge through knee-deep water, when you put yourself in front of the crowd, when you do the things that need to be done every time it needs to be done. And even though the rewards from that particular effort, the reward from that particular moment may not equal what you believe it ought to equal, and even though that reward may not be what you think it ought to be, you know, at the end of the day, you're doing the small things over and over and over again to make significant impacts. With a calling, it becomes more than you. It becomes the other people that you affect. It becomes the other things that you do. See, the job is intrinsically selfish because I need money, right? And I'm going to do these things to get that money. So I believe with the job, it's an intrinsically inwardly focused, selfish mindset, and not selfish in a bad way. You're just looking at you're looking at your needs over someone else's needs. With a career, you're sacrificing a little more yourself. You're doing a little more than maybe you would do. But in the calling, man, you're laying it on the line. You're going to do whatever it takes whenever it takes it. You're going to do whatever it takes whenever you're called on. When it's a calling, you put yourself out there constantly and consistently, because you know that your value comes from the impact you make on other people, the thing that you're doing for someone else. That's why I believe most of you in this company, that there's more of a calling than a career, because you know when you come to this company and you come to Exit Realty Lake Country, because I promise you, it is a calling for me, and I believe it's a calling for Christy. And when we made the switch and the shift from, hey, let's make it all be about us. Let's make it be just about us making money. Let's make it just be about us getting things that we want to get and doing the things that we got to do to make that happen. Let's shift that. And in that shift, we now know that this is a platform. And it was Steve Morris who actually said it to us, and it really brought it into light. It's a platform. It's something that we do, but it creates a platform for us to pour into you. It creates a platform for us to pour into people's lives, to help other people be better. Because if each individual ingredient is better, the soup tastes better. If each individual ingredient is higher quality, the cookies taste better. If each individual ingredient is better, the pizza tastes. Oh my God, pizza! I would love to have a pizza right now, but the pizza would taste better. You get my point? When each individual piece, each individual human does what they're supposed to do, and they're rocking toward being the better version of themselves, the best versions of themselves, then each individual piece makes the whole that much better. And that's what we're trying to do. That's what our focus is. That's the focus of this company. That is Exit Realty Lake Country. That is, we want to help other people be the best, better, most complete version of you that you can be. So it's not a job for us. We don't look at this even as a career. That's why when things happen, it hurts. There's a hurt in here that happens when bad stuff goes on. When we lose a piece of the family, when we lose a chunk of will it kill us? No. Sometimes it's a flesh wound. Sometimes it's just a little nick. Sometimes it's a broken arm. Sometimes it's losing a finger. But each individual piece affects the body as a whole. I did hear there was I did hear there was a conversation yesterday at the Google training that I found quite interesting. But again, you don't know what you got till it's gone. You know what I'm saying? You don't realize how good you got it until you don't have the good anymore. You don't realize how good it is until it's not good anymore. And unfortunately, we get very, very complacent, and we get very, very self-centered. And sometimes we get very, very inwardly focused, and we forget to appreciate all the things that are done. And I say this to people all the time. If there was a meter and you could quantify your mindset, like you could quantify, and we do have a meter, it's called your emotions, right? But if there was a way for us to quantify where our emotions are, if there was a way for us to quantify where our belief systems are, if there was a way for us to connect our belief systems to what we see happening in our lives, if there was a way for us to connect, what we see happening in our lives with our emotional belief system, if there's a way to make those things connect, this would be so much easier. But at the end of the day, there's not. At the end of the day, there's no emotional, there's no meter that shows you what your output, how that ties to your input. There's no meter that shows that what you get out here is relevant and is or connected to what's going on in here. It's something that just happens, and because you don't see it, you forget about it. When it's not raining, you don't know how bad your windshield wipers are. And it's not until you see how bad it's not until it's raining and you turn your windshield wipers on that you see how bad your windshield wipers are. And you're like, oh my God, my windshield wipers are awful. I meant to change those. So when we have people that leave, when we have things that happen, when we have people that change directions and they decide to go different places to do different things, we have to release them, right? You have to say, we bless you and release you to your highest and best, and wish you nothing but the best. I just wish sometimes that there was a meter, that there was some kind of thing that says you got this because of this, because I believe that a lot of times that gets overlooked, right? And we start to blame, we start to assign responsibility to things that aren't responsible for whatever that we're looking at, and we try to assign some value to things that we maybe don't see, and assign values to things that we do see, and then blame those things that we do see on our perceived lack of success, or maybe our success. Just a crazy thing. So I've been talking straight for 30 minutes, and I don't see Christy getting on here. So hopefully she will be in a second. So I'm gonna stop talking. I want you guys to chime in. It's Friday, so let's have a little chime in session. Is there anything resonating with you? Anything that's on your heart? Anything anybody wants to share? Anything that what I've said this morning kind of strum at a chord, or maybe hit a little button in you that you wanna speak to? Anyone? I put my glasses on so I can read the comments. Y'all awake? Or am I just talking to myself this morning? Anybody? Anyone? I'm taking that as a no. Hello. This thing on? Diane says, Diane, I feel you. Diane says, Diane Farr, y'all, if you've not met Diane Farr is a broker owner up in the Eastern Tennessee area. I know maybe towards Knoxville, Gatlinburg. Is that right? Sevierville, that way. Diane's on with us almost every morning, y'all. And Diane says it's been an exhausting week. You just got to keep going. When it hurts, when it sucks, I read some this morning, and see if this resonates, because obviously y'all are all sleeping except Diane. Thank you for being here, Diane. I read some this morning in the 10X rule by Grant Cardone, and he talked about fear. Fear is something that false evidence appearing real, things that we perceive to be bad or seem to be negative. A lot of times that perception keeps us from taking action on something, right? And he said that time is the single biggest feeder of fear. I want you to think about this in your life. When you're afraid of something, what's your first reaction, right? Our first reaction typically, and I'm just going to use fear of calling, right? Our fear of cold calling, fear of calling a prospect or calling someone we don't know. The first thing we do is I do, and we all do. We start to shuffle papers, right? We start to try to prepare for the call. We start looking for a call script. We start doing other things other than just dialing the number. Okay? We do things other than just dialing the number. We start to, oh, I need to pull this report, or I need to do this over here. So his contention is that time, the longer, when you have the notion, when it hits your heart to go make a call, when you know it's time to go prospect, it's time to go do the thing that you got to do. Instead of putting it off, instead of pushing it out like I did last night, knowing I have to go work out, the longer it takes me to go work out, the more excuses, the more that little bitch voice gets on my shoulder and starts trying to talk me out of it. The more that fear because procrastination is the biggest feeder of fear, y'all. Procrastination is the fuel to your fear. And the longer you wait, the longer you put it off, the longer you don't do it, the bigger your fear gets, the more your fear grows. Does that resonate with anybody? You ever found that something that's really, really scary to do, if you just go freaking do it, it's not that bad? I mean, I'll use a pool as an analogy. Y'all, getting into a cold pool, a cold swimming pool, is absolutely one of the worst things in the entire world to do. But what makes getting in that cold pool even worse is trying to slowly walk into the cold pool. Because as soon as you put your foot in the cold pool, that sends a signal to your brain that the pool is cold. And then when you step on the next step and it gets up in the middle of your shin or to your knee, it then reinforces the thought that your head has that this pool is cold. And then the emotions in your heart say, I really don't want to get in a cold pool. I don't want to get in cold water. But you know you have to. So then you take more steps in, and you try to slowly ease your way in. And then the cold water starts to hit other parts of your body. And you're like, oh my gosh, this is unbelievable. I'm not getting in this. I can't do it. And we turn around and get out. So we take this time to slowly creep into it so that we're comfortable getting into the cold water, when in fact, all we're doing is creating more discomfort. And that's the great paradox, in that the time to become more comfortable actually creates for us more uncomfortableness. And is actually probably more influential to us quitting and moving away than it is finishing the task. When if you just get on the side of the pool and jump in head first, your body doesn't have time to react. Your emotions don't have time to react. Now you've just done it. Now you're just in it. And now you do what you got to do. And amazingly, once you're in it, your body acclimates to it. And once you're in it, your body says, this isn't that bad. And then all of a sudden it's not cold anymore. And the very thing that you wanted to do, you're actually doing. And so my contention is that we've tried to, in an effort to protect ourselves, in an effort to prevent any hurt or pain. Guess what? Hurt and pain, fear is a part of life. And I'm going to encourage you this morning, do the things that scare you. Do the things that make you fearful, because it's right behind that false curtain of fear that next opportunity lies. And it's right behind that little false curtain of fear that if you just walk through it, where your greatness lies, where the next step to your dream lies, where maybe the next rung of the ladder for you to climb is. Carrie says, I'm going to a listing appointment in Dunwoody today, and I'm a tad nervous because of the market shift. Homes around it have sold for more than I think this one will sell for, so I'm mentally preparing for that discussion. So I want you to read this comment, and we're going to have a little mastermind this morning. We're going to have a little pre-listing mastermind with Carrie Leland. So everybody read this comment. I'm going to a listing appointment in Dunwoody, Atlanta today, and I'm a tad nervous because of the market shift. Homes around it have sold for more than I think this one will sell for, so I'm mentally preparing for that discussion. All right, we're having a mastermind. This is where audience participation is vital. For those of you on the call, give Carrie some advice. Somebody give Carrie a piece of advice. Diane Farr, you've been in this business a while. Michelle, you've done this for a minute. Some of you have been in this position before. Give Carrie a little bit of advice. What should she be thinking about? Instead of thinking about being nervous, instead of thinking about the possibility of loss, instead of thinking about the fear of failure, what maybe should Carrie be focused on this particular listing appointment? Anyone? I mean, you guys on Fridays are dead. I'm not sure. Y'all usually are a lot more excited about Fridays. You're a lot more into this. Anything? So, Carrie, here's what I'll say. That is a conversation that is had quite a bit. So my question to you is, and if Christy was on here, I wish she was, because she I'm telling you, Christy's a listing pirate. She plays by feel, and it works for her so well. So the market has shifted. So Diane said in our area, people continuously move in and out because we have an investment property. They're in like a second home market there. So she can see pretty quickly that there has been a market shift. However, people are still moving up and moving in. They're still moving up and moving up and moving down, and people are going to buy and sell. And that's true. So here's what I'd say, Carrie. Here's how I'm going to tell you how to look at this. Gosh, we've lost everybody here. Here's how I say you look at this. Has there been a market shift? Yes, there has been. But it's a good market shift. It is a market shift in the right direction. It's not a market shift in the wrong direction. Because at the end of the day, what's happened now is we've gone from a market that is completely sellers, where sellers can price their home for whatever they want to price it for, and buyers are willing to pay even more than that. Where we're in a market where sellers could put a house in the market, where listing agents could put their sign in the yard and or call people and say, I've got a house in the market, and the house would sell because the buyer demand was so high. The market has shifted, but the market has shifted to a place where we're much more balanced. Now, are there still multiple offers? Yes. Can you still overprice a house? Yes. And that's the conversation I'd have with your sellers. Mr. Miss Seller, I've done this research. I know this market. I know exactly what I believe houses are selling for in this market. I am really confident in what the research that I've done. In this particular case, here's where I believe your house is going to sell for, and this is the range. At the end of the day, Mr. Miss Seller, you're going to be the one that's going to determine the price of the house. You're going to be the one who determines what price we go on the market with. But I will tell you, here's my caution. If you go into the market with your house priced too high, it is going to sit. Because this market has shifted, and in the market shift, buyers know when houses are overpriced. And when houses are overpriced, they are not going to come see your house. So somewhere in this range is where you need to be. But my caution is, don't be up here too high. You've still got to be smart with your pricing. You still have to be smart. Good morning, Winnie G. You got to be smart with where we come on the market. And I'm leaving it to you, but here's the range based on what I know. And you give it to them and let them make their decision. Michelle says, just be honest. Honesty without beating around the bush. Give them realistic expectations about the value of their home and explain what happened what has happened with the market in the last year. And I think that's what you go with, Carrie. You've done your research. You know that market. You know that market as well as anybody else in that area. And you understand what the market's doing, and you understand what their house is, and you need to be realistic with them. And you give them what you believe, okay, based on the market's analysis, based on the analysis of the other things in the area, based on the evaluation of the other homes that have sold. This is what I believe, based on the current conditions, this is what I believe your house could possibly sell for. Don't use the word value. This is what I believe your house could possibly sell for. You can choose to list it for higher. You can. Heck, I bet you could find a real estate, and this is what I tell them all the time. Heck, I bet you could find a real estate agent who would come in here and tell you they'll sell it for $100,000 more than what I'm telling you. And that very well may be enticing to you, that they're going to tell you they can get $100,000 more for your house than what I'm telling you. But this market is different now than it was even 8 months ago, 9 months ago. This market's different. Not a year ago, just within the last 6 to 9 months, the market's changed. And you can take that listing agent's opinion and go sell that and list your house for $100,000 more. But I promise you, at the end of the day, you're going to be right here where I'm telling you you're going to be. And it could take you 8 months, or you could take you 2 months. Your call. That's completely on you. Y'all, it happened. This happened, literally has happened to me within the last 2 months. I went to a listing in Hendersonville. The house was not fantastic. It wasn't a fantastic house. It was an okay house. It was a house in one of the oldest neighborhoods in the area. And it was a house that was good, but it had some challenges. The house had some challenges. And they looked at this house as a house back in July. And they were viewing their house as a house back in June. And they were looking at their house that it was worth this number. When you look at everything around it, it was worth this number. And so when I gave them the options of what they should look at and what they should price their house at and where they should go, they obviously wanted the high number. That sounded really, really good because they want to move up. There she is. And I told them, here's where I think you ought to be. And they chose not to be where I thought they ought to be. And so I got fired. They fired me and said I wasn't doing this and I wasn't doing that. And they chose to blame me for that, right? Well, now they relisted the house and now it's under contract for the numbers I originally told them. So it happens. It's going to happen. Okay. There she is. Let me see if you ready to get on here, Christy? She's riding around. She's swimming. Let's see.
Tell me you can, Aaron, can you see me on the thing? Oh, there you are.
We can see you and we can hear you.
Okay, cool. So I won't be able to look very much because I'm driving down the road, as y'all can tell. I'm going to try to look and not die. But I was thinking we'd get to listen to some of what you were saying, so I wouldn't just jump in here and be completely off topic. But give me a recap of what you're talking about.
Well, we're talking about pricing and fear and expectations and all that stuff. So just I'd say this: just go with what you're going with, what you want to talk about, because obviously you have something to talk about.
So I started thinking that I wanted to talk about yesterday, and all the things that we, and how if anybody is on this call that does not have a ticket for the Be Google Great session going on today, we do have a couple of extra tickets, and I may have just messed that up where y'all can't see me now. Sorry. If you don't have one of those, a ticket to get into Be Google Great today, call me and let me know because I can get you in. We've got a few extra tickets, and it was, when I say it was the best Google training as far as the information they provided, the him sitting down and truly showing, like it was a workshop. Like you had your computer with you and you were doing some of the things that he was showing you. And I sat right there and I told Carrie to swear. I swore Carrie to secrecy that I just now set up my Google business page yesterday. Cause I said, I don't think that my husband will be very happy with me about this. But I did go ahead and divulge it to him last night when we talked that I set it up and I guess it's not something that I've really focused on because my goal has not been to go out there. I know Aaron's focused on our company pages, but my goal has not been to focus on, generating business through Google. It's been more, but I realized through that conversation yesterday, how important it is, even for our company, that we're getting, even for me as the broker of our company for Georgia and South Carolina, to get the presence out there and for us to see that. I guess I just really not been looking at it from that standpoint. So I thought that's what I was going to talk about today. So I did want to mention that to y'all, that if I hit a trash can, these people in Georgia put their trash cans so dadgum close to the road that for anybody, you've got a much higher likelihood of hitting a trash can driving down the road in the morning by going over the little white line on the side than you do a person. So, dang, these trash cans are out here a lot. Friday morning in Northeast Georgia. So, I want to talk about that, but then, this morning I've got a coaching session set up with a lady next week that I'm super excited about. It's a discovery call, and her stuff just really has somehow just resonated with me a lot as I've been listening to a lot of her podcasts. And she has a Greenville phone number, but she is actually she actually is in Nashville is where she lives. So the irony of that, because when I saw her phone number, it was a Greenville phone number, but then when I talked to her, she's actually in Nashville. So, anyway, so we're talking, but she sends me like her most recent podcast. And this morning, her podcast, I don't know how much time we've got left, but 10 minutes? Is that about how much time we've got?
Yeah.
Okay. So this morning, when I was watching this podcast, and as I was listening to the podcast, the topic was destination addiction. And I was like, wow. Like that is just the concept of that. And she referenced and I was getting dressed to get out the door. For those of you that have noticed that I'm actually out the door. The goal was for me to get the door a long time ago, but you know what? It is what it is. So the destination one of never being fully present and never being happy with where we are right now. And when I first started coaching with Erica Nasby, and I may be losing y'all, sorry, I'm out in the middle of the sticks. When I first started coaching with Erica Nasby back in 2007 was the first time I ever experienced Erica Nasby. And it was in the summer of 2007. She came to Hartwell and she did a door knocking class with us, a door knocking training in person, where we literally rented a van, went out to the doors. It was, I want to say it was in August of 2007 in Georgia. So as many of you know, that is, you want to talk about hell hot? Michelle, you door knocked. If Michelle's on here, Michelle's door knocked in hell hot, August, Georgia. So it was awful. But I remember she stayed at my house, and I remember we were in the car and we were talking, and I remember her telling me about how that it's really about mindfulness, and it's about being happy. Our happiness is right here where we're at. And Mary, this coach I've been listening to, the lady of the podcast, she said that she was on a trip to Peru. And she said it was just an amazing experience. And she goes to Peru a lot for different whatever that word is. You know, it's philanthropy focused trips.
Philanthropic.
I'll use that. Philanthropic events is what she does. Philanthropic events.
Philanthropic excursions.
So she's sitting there, and I can't see any of the comments, so I don't know what anybody's saying. But
Michelle just said that August was swamp ass season.
Swamp ass season was what it was. So Erica actually got introduced to, I'm trying to think of the brand of flip flops. I used to wear them all the time. They've got like the little daisy on the thing. They're the squishy. They got the squishy soles. They're black. I'm trying to think. It seems like the boxes are yellow and white. I can't remember the name of them. I used to have a crap ton of them. I used to wear them all the time. But I introduced Erica Nasby to those squishy flip flops. Anyways, because her feet were killing her when we were out door knocking. So anyways, but so Mary's talking about this. She's on this trip to Peru, and she said, I was trying to get a hold of it's her ex-husband now. She said this about 8 years ago. She said, I was trying, and she said I couldn't get a hold of him, and it was like there was something important that we needed to talk about, and I was freaking out because I just couldn't get him on the phone. And she said one of her, and they called it something, I want to say her shaman or whatever they're called, like her leader, like her spiritual, almost like meditation, one of her leaders walks over and sits down beside her. And he says, what's going on? And she says, well, I'm trying to get a hold of my husband and I can't get in touch with him. And I'm just and he says, I noticed that you've got an uneasiness about you. And she said, I was trying to be very discreet about it, but obviously her energy was extremely apparent. And she said that he looked at her and he said, well, you're not there and you're not here. So right now you're nowhere. And she said, and that was such a profound statement to me, because I think all of us at some point feel like it's always, we got to keep pushing and we got to keep pressing and we got to keep and having goals is different than never being satisfied with where you're at now. Because you're never sitting still. You're either moving forward or you're moving backwards. But I mean, we're never, even a boat that's got the motor turned off is never sitting still. So, but sometimes you've got to be able to be present with where we are right now. And I had a really good conversation with Winston yesterday. I don't know if Winston's on this call or not, but had a really good conversation with Winston yesterday on the phone. And we were talking about just, some things that are going on. And Winston's really a it reminds me, yesterday even reminded me of, there's times that we pour into other people, and there's times that that every bit of whatever we pour into people, every bit of love and every bit of encouragement and every bit of motivation that we pour into others, I promise you, we get it back sometimes in almost the exact form that we gave it to them at times that we needed. It's almost like I'm giving you this, and we don't know, and I don't think we're doing it consciously when it happens, but it's like we're giving them that motivation and we're giving them that encouragement that they turn around later down the road when we least expect it and we need that same word of encouragement. They give it back to us. It's like, here, I've been holding this for you, and they just give it back to us. So I was sitting here last night as I'm just kind of thinking through some things that are going on, and just trying to get centered and stay in a place of peace and alignment, because that's really, really what and you can only get that in the present. You can't get that in the future. You can't get it in the past. You can only get your true alignment with where you're currently at right now. And this podcast this morning reminded me of that people strive for this wholeness, and when we talk about trying to, strive to be that whole person, it's almost an indication that we are somehow broken, and we're not broken. We are a whole person right here where we are. And sometimes that whole person includes some junk. And sometimes that whole person includes some things that we have to sit with and work through. And sometimes it takes a minute. And she mentioned that, patience is one of the fruits of the Spirit. And so many people, and even we hear people say, don't pray for patience, don't pray for patience. But if we don't experience situations that allow us to develop that feeling of patience, there are things that come up in life that we just have to have patience. Okay. Yesterday, when I was leaving that training in Swanee, I'm literally trying to change lanes, and there's barely enough room between the car that's in the lane on the left that I'm trying to get into, because I need to turn left to get on the interstate, and me. There's maybe 3 car lengths, but enough that as I'm moving, I have enough to move into that spot. There's a car flying up in that same lane. I mean, if Mama's on here, driving like Mama drives, she accelerates to a dang red light. Seriously, like, I don't know how in the world she don't go through brake pads like crazy, because she will accelerate to a red light. Carson does the same thing. So, and I'm thinking, he literally lays down on his horn, like, do you see me coming up? And I'm thinking, dude, these cars are stopped. Like, you're about to have to slam on brakes. Like, you would have been 1 car length ahead of me at the red light. So there are some people who just don't get patience. So I exercise my patience, and I let old Rushy get past me, and then I just fell in right behind him. I was literally 12 feet behind where I would have been otherwise, sitting there at a red light. And it reminds me that it's always a pursuit for the next thing. It's always a pursuit for the next place. And there's nothing wrong with pursuing growth. There's nothing wrong with pursuing goals, but we are missing what we've got right here with us, right in the very moment. I'm going today to an event in Alpharetta that I am so excited about, that just kind of popped up this week. And the guy reached out to me, and I was like, I was really, and of course I learned this from Coach Burt, that even the fact that I paused for 18 seconds reading this thing, somehow it grabbed a hold of my thing, and I get this chat that pops up. And anyways, I was getting this free book. But John Maxwell's going to be there. Ed Milet's going to be there. It's a Ken Jocelyn event, if anybody's heard of Ken Jocelyn. So Brad Lee's going to be there. I mean, it is a lineup of people speaking that I've heard. Brad Lee, I've heard some of these people speak, and it's just one of those things that's like, it popped up. And I think we have to sometimes plan for the unexpected, and leave enough room in our schedule to go into things that just resonate with us and that we feel like we need to be there. So that's why I'm asking y'all, if anybody's got time today and you don't have a ticket to this Be Google Great, there's some fantastic information that's coming out of that. We're going to share a lot of it too. If you can't make it to it, Carrie took fantastic ELF notes as always. And I'm looking at her just thinking, I don't even need to write this down, because she's up there writing all this stuff down. But be good with where you're at. And some of the stuff that I'm having to sit with a little bit right now and get a little bit of peace about is honestly things that I'm seeing. And it reminds me that sometimes people, just like we give other people things that they keep for us and they give it back to us just when we need it. And I'm seeing people who have truly been an inspiration to me to be more present, to be more aligned with who we really are and not always in pursuit of that next thing, that I'm seeing all of a sudden in constant pursuit of the next thing and not happy with where they're at. And for those of y'all that have watched, I think it's Facing the Giants. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, I think it's the Facing the Giants version of it. It's the, there's a whole series of movies that group did, but there's a scene in the movie where the coach is sitting in his office like late that night and he's just kind of stressing and he knows that he probably is going to get fired and they're awful and the team's awful and they're not winning. And a man walks in and he's walking down the hallway at the high school and he knows that that the coach is thinking of doing something different or he's going to get fired or he knows the people are trying to get rid of him or whatever. And he just looks at him and he says, bloom where you're planted. Just bloom where you're planted. And I've been with Exit for 23, 6. This is my 17th year. And there's plenty, gosh, there's been so many companies that have surfaced and then gone in that 17-year period that I've been with Exit. And it's like, if you're always looking for the next great thing, if you're always searching for what's better than what I've got right now, not just in business, but in every aspect of our life, we're never going to find that true happiness, because the true happiness is exactly where we're at right now. Like, it's here all around us. And I just want to remind you guys of that. Like, it's Friday. It's been a good but crazy hectic week for us, for a lot of us. I mean, Aaron's in, I'm not even sure what time zone my husband's in right now, but I think it's earlier than it would be otherwise. Like, is it like 4:30 or 5:30 right now where you're at? I can't hear you. Maybe y'all can't. Have y'all been able to hear me this whole time? Because I can't hear anything. Oh,
sorry,
wait,
my mic was muted. Sorry. Yeah, I'm in Central Time. I'm still Central.
Oh, you're still in Central Time. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, I looked at the map and it's a long ways away, so I don't know how big Central Time is, but apparently it's pretty broad. But, you know, I mean, it's been a hectic week for a lot of people, and I think that our happiness is truly wherever we're at. And I'm saying that as I'm in the car driving somewhere else, but the irony of that, but truly the experiences that we're supposed to have are all around us.
Yep.
And if we'll sit still enough to pay attention to, because I truly believe that the things that we're supposed to have are going to surface. And one of the things that she said is, what's mine is never late. What's mine can't pass me by. And so I do believe that we always think, if we're not constantly on the lookout for whatever it is that we're supposed to have, I think if we can just sit with ourselves, it'll walk up to you like that little puppy. Last night, Lainey and I went and looked at a house at 8:30 last night that I came across on the internet, and I called the agent. I know her pretty well, and I called her, and she was actually driving back from, I think maybe from Anderson. Her mom's had a stroke, and she was over at rehab with her, and she was coming back, and we're talking, and she said, I can meet you over there. And I said, yeah, I'm gonna be gone for a couple of days, and I don't want this thing to pass us by and Lainey be upset that, you know, but if it's meant for it to be hers, it's not going to pass her by. And I'm going to encourage y'all to be present with and truly allow the things that are your happiness. Y'all, if y'all hadn't seen Michelle Tilson in person, I mean, a lot of y'all have, because y'all are around there where she's at, and she's still on this call. I mean, this 75 hard thing for her is, she looks like a different person. And I don't mean like I didn't even notice any like weight. Like, Michelle's never looked overweight to me. So I don't pay attention to, but her glow about her right now, and just, she literally looks like the pictures that I see her post up from years ago. That's the glow that she's got right now. And just that look of just, Kristen Ritchie described it real well last night, just vibrance and energy that just looks like a youthful vibrance about her. And it's because I truly believe that Michelle has been working on being present for well over a year now, probably a year and a half. I think she really started that journey after the rally in Orlando, which was October of 21. And she, I'm just seeing it. And again, Michelle's one of those that's really gives us someone to look to, you know, as a great example of just being who you are in whole authenticity, just who you are. And,
Yep.
and I try to do that. And sometimes mine has to be, I gotta grind the rough edges off of it a little bit, because sometimes my whole authenticity is a whole bag of, you know what, but and sometimes we just got to sit with that. And that's what she said this morning on that podcast, is whatever that emotion is, we do have to sit with it. We have to be able to quit trying to rush out of it, because if we try to rush out of that emotion, it's just gonna follow us until we process it. So just be present with where y'all are at today. So I'm gonna get off this call because I'm on the interstate, and I think we probably lost. I can't even see how many people are there, which I can't hardly see the screen anyways.
There's 7. And I got to get in the shower anyway. we got a hockey game to get to, so I'm going to go take a shower.
So, but I love y'all, and thanks for let's stay on here long enough for me to hop in there and just kind of get that word in. But again, somebody text me if you guys are wanting it's in Swanee. For those of you that are like in Jackson County Commerce area, even if you know somebody who's interested in going, we've got a couple of extra tickets that we can, you know, give up. So, because that room was packed yesterday, and they want to fill that room, because there's people that are sitting there just showing up, waiting to be able to just get in on a waiting list. So, but anyways,
Cool.
Love y'all.
Well, thank you. Thanks for jumping on here.
All right. Talk to y'all later.
All right. Bye, y'all. Be good. Be good. Be great. Be you. Have an awesome Friday. Have a fantastic weekend. Let this thing be the blow up for your weekend, y'all. Have an awesome day. I love that. Be present. Be where you are. Never forget who you are. Never forget what you're doing. Never forget where you're going. And sometimes sitting still is exactly what you need to go forward. Be good. Be great. Be you. Bye, y'all. Love you.